there's a lot of less, or in fact there's no proper knowledge or information even available over the internet for a person to understand what exactly mall management is. My comment on even e-commerce or digital revolution is that there is space for everyone. It's a huge market. It's only you need to understand as a retail brick and mortar shop, how you're going to change your approach. Right. If you don't change, then you will lose out. It's not because somebody else has come. When you're still in college, understand where your passion lies. Right. Even if you're doing retail, as I've said, you might be good in something else. But retail will give you that base to take off.
A lot of you are interested maybe in knowing a lot about retail management and how the nuts and bolts of that particular industry works, and to share that experience, to share what actually retail management holds or entails, I have a very special guest with me today, Agnelo. Hi Agnelo, welcome to InsideIIM. So Agnelo, right now what we are going to do in this conversation is we would like to understand from your lens as to when you were a student, right? What was the kind of thing that was going in your mind when you thought that retail management is something that I want to pursue? And from there, how these 15 years have spanned out for you?
So before I started up my journey in retail management and coming here in Welingkar and doing my retail management back then in 2005, I was already working with a couple of MNCs in Bombay itself. And then this phenomena of Big Bazaar happened one day.
Right.
And I seen sea of people coming at early morning, as at 4 o'clock in the morning, and queuing up outside Big Bazaar for the big day sale.
Right.
That was something fascinating for me. I mean, in brief, I would say that's what excited me. What is retail management? Although I was doing well at that time, and I just came up, Welingkar came up with the MBA in retail management, and I was quick, without a blink in my eye, I was like, I need to pursue this.
You said that Welingkar started retail management. Was it the first batch that you were
yes,
part of?
I believe it was the first batch.
Right. And what was the learning like when you came in here, when you interacted with students, when you interacted with like-minded people who thought the way you were thinking at that point in time? How was that learning like, if you can remember? I know it's a long time back, it will be hard remembering those things, but whatever comes to your mind,
So when I came here, there was the first batch was a mix of freshers who directly come from their college and starting their MBA, and there was a few of them who were from retail itself. Around 4-5 years of experience from ground retail, I mean, and they were given the opportunity by Future Group by sponsoring them the MBA. Right. But when we used to travel and train, we used to speak more in detail, and their experiences taught me, like their experience with customers. Even they used to tell me, oh, now I know why a particular design is done in such a way. So it was a very good journey,
So Daisar Local also acted as a teacher for you then.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of the memories that you have of this particular place. We are sitting at the auditorium. I don't know whether at your time this auditorium was there or not. And you must have taken part in a lot of these activities and committees also back then during your B schools. Anything that stands out for you in terms of memories that taught you something in return?
Mr. Kishore Biyani was here, and I was already impressed by the things he's done with Big Bazaar.
Right.
And we were all like waiting for Mr. Biyani to come. The man came with a simple white cotton shirt. He's not sitting here. He just went down when we were asking him a question. He sat on the ladder, and he was just addressing all the questions. I mean, that kind of made an impact. How much ever success shouldn't go to your.
Correct.
You should be always humble. And then when I read his book, phenomenal. Only a small observation to start such a successful venture was really something everyone should learn from.
Moving on to Kishore Biyani and Future Group, that's the first company that you also worked with, right? After we were done with the course. So tell me a little bit more about, how long did this engagement stand with the Future Group? How long were you working with them? And at what point did you think that now is the time when a career shift or a movement needs to happen?
So it happened quite fast. Back then, I had called for an interview from Landmark Group for an assistant mall manager. So I took up that. I was excited and I was like, fine. And back then the decision was quite quick because I was bachelor at that time. So I said, let me go ahead and try that. So Now, retail to mall management was a very nice journey, a lot of learnings. So that's how it started.
What exactly happens when you actually take up a job like a mall management? Now, you were in a shop where things were happening and you were a part of it, right? In mall management, the kind of roles and responsibilities you take, what sort of further responsibilities get added to your shoulder? It's not just one shop that you're handling right now, it's in the entire mall that you're handling, and there are very different logistical challenges and problems that comes on your way. So what was that like, if you can share a little bit on that?
Sure. So I'm very glad you asked this question, because there's a lot of less, or in fact there's no proper knowledge or information even available over the internet for a person to understand what exactly mall management is. Earlier, mall management was more or less like, I'm a landlord, I'm the owner of the building, and you're my tenant. That's our relationship. Over the period of years, both the parties have understood. In fact, mall have understood more. The time they understood that, look, you are my business partner, right? If you grow, I grow.
Yeah.
It's a simple relationship. So once that came in, right, the mindset of this particular business relationship totally changed.
Let's talk about, as I mentioned, your Dubai journey. With Landmark Group, you shifted to Dubai, right? So what exactly happened? What sort of roles were you entrusted with the Landmark Group that you went in there, and were there challenges?
So with Landmark Group, I was an assistant mall manager, but that was a role of more of a facility manager, right? That's what it initially started. So Landmark had 4-5 brands under one building or a property, which were their own brands. So a store manager for a few months used to handle the facility manager. After a few months, another store manager, a kids brand store manager would manage. But at the end of the day, they all are Landmark Group. They're all supposed to ensure that their brand sale is increasing, kids or footwear or whatever it is. I was supposed to handle the numbers also of all the 4-5 brands, plus look at the facility, and that's how the journey started. So with Landmark, it was more of retailing plus a facility management job. But then I moved on to absolute mall management after that.
Which firm was it?
It was a local company called Souk Extra. They're basically into community center malls. Community center mall would be of a lesser size, and their main, the positioning is basically to capture a small community of nearby people. And then that's where you have to take care of every aspects of mall management, right from rentals, right from leasing, right from understanding which shop will go where. Because when you say community center mall, the mall size is less. So you need to be more service oriented.
So you looked after the allocations of the stores and leasing of them as well?
Yeah, see, you have teams who take care of that. But at the end of the day, as center head, you need to know what's coming in your mall, and you need to have your business intelligence to what's good for my mall.
Tell us a little bit about that experience. You were in Dubai, you were there for a few years now. The kind of expansion Dubai was having at that time, still having, was completely different from India, right? The one mall that you were aware of in India at that time, Malad, to now looking at malls everywhere that you go to in your car. So what was that like?
I'm telling you, it was an amazing experience, because that time Dubai had good malls, and now they have become much more better. The best thing what happened for me in Middle East is there were so many nationalities. India, you have certain way, every customer is different, but when you have so many nationalities buying, and their questions are different, their experience of their own country is different, and then you are there, you're managing all sort of nationalities, I would say. At one point in time, as I mentioned, I was working for a local company. So at that time, it was a very small team. So my CEO was an Australian. My operations head, whom we used to report to, the center head used to report to, was an Iraqi. My leasing head was an Egyptian. My marketing was a Lebanese lady. My accounts lady was an American. And the assistant accounts person was a Pakistani. So you can imagine you're dealing with
global meeting boardroom that's taking place there.
So that was an amazing experience, yeah.
Agnelo, let's talk about the rest of the years that you spent in Dubai. You worked with a couple of more malls as mall managers. you were also seeing the kind of shift that was happening in Dubai and the mall culture itself. Things were opening up, new digital assets were coming up, right? How was that time dealing with these new changes that were happening, and what should a retail manager, sort of think in their mind and act upon to deal with certain challenges that are coming up?
My comment on even e-commerce or digital revolution is that there is space for everyone. It's a huge market. It's only you need to understand as a retail brick and mortar shop how you're going to change your approach. If you don't change, then you will lose out. It's not because somebody else has come and then it's because of this that I'm losing out. No, it's because you need to change. And I've heard it also. Merit was known for making scissors, all kinds of scissors and knives. So people from European countries used to order scissors and knives from Merit. What happened? They didn't innovate, they didn't change. Now if you have to make the same kind of scissors, you have to innovate, you have to give those kinds of machine. Now to get those kinds of machine, you have to invest. By the time you came there, or you probably wanted to reach there, they came China. A guy who's to manufacturer has now become a trader. He's getting things from China. Why should he manufacture it? So I'm just giving an example. If you do not, change yourself or innovate yourself, it's not someone else. It's you're going to cannibalize your business.
Let's talk about the scope that India has right now in terms of when we talk about retail management per se. It's not like that. Malls have stopped being built. The tier 1 cities, I think, has reached a saturation point, but the tier 2 and the tier 3 cities are opening up to these opportunities. And while digital is at the forefront and is making changes and is disrupting businesses, the likes of say for example a DMart is still there, which is making a lot of business. How lucrative do you think retail management is right now for a student who want to get into a field like this, and what sort of opportunities can they experience or expect?
So retail has a huge potential in India. That time UAE and say Oman had approximately 620 malls. Now look at the size of UAE. You look at the potential of what India has. The digital era or the internet or your phones, people in tier 2, tier 3 city have access to this. They don't have to come to tier 1 city or Mumbai to experience what it is to shop or to look at windows of shopping centers, etc. Economic Times and everyone is talking about the potential of tier 2 and tier 3 city. I was fortunate enough to see and feel the experience myself. My message to all these students who are pursuing retail management or even who wants to go into mall management, I would say the potential is humongous. You need to understand and do some research, talk to people, and understand where does your passion lies. Does your passion lies in operation? Does your passion lies in visual merchandising in retail? Every retail, business is same. You need to understand what is that you want to start off with. So something which you like and you start off with, understand slowly how that business works. So that's how you should develop your career.
From that Daisy train to coming to Inorbit in Malad to now actually being the mall manager at the same place, how has life changed for you? And how do you think, this investment that you have done for 2 years, taking up the course and then, listening to your calling and getting into doing what you wanted has been for you so far?
I can just tell you that when I came back, I had a couple of offers. So when this happened, without a blink in my eye, I said, I'm going to Baroda. So the experience was really nice. I learned a lot of how Indian customers shop, how all those things which I learned over there, I can implement in my mall and get those same experiences. And looking at how those experiences, when you put into reality and how people react to it, is really amazing.
Superb. One last advice to students who are interested in doing the same thing that you have done like 11, 10, 15 years, I don't know how many years back, how things are now and what should they be thinking of before roping themselves in for a program like this?
Yeah, so as I said, my advice would be to students to follow what their passion is. When you're still in college, understand where your passion lies. Even if you're doing retail, as I've said, you might be good in something else. But retail will give you that base to take off. and don't go into a deep analysis which is better for me. Just jump in if you feel that, if you have that gut feeling that this is good for me. And one more personal advice is keep reading books. Now you have time, even if you don't have time professionally, I would say, keep reading as much as you can.
Agnelo, that was great advice for people who wanted to learn more about retail management and the kind of life that can lie ahead of them. If you liked our content, do like the video, subscribe the channel, and tell us in the comments below if you have any questions. The B School that Agnelo was part of and the program that he took up, there's a link in the description. You can go check that out as well. Thank you very much, Agnelo, for your time, and all the very best with everything that you have set out for your life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.